for the introduction. I appreciate that. And thanks each one of you for coming out today and spending some time honoring sacrifice, honoring duty, and honoring the men and women who've served our country since the 1700s to make us where we are today. Today clearly is an important day, but it's not a day that's, it's not the only day that we should remember the men and women who've made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, for our freedom, and ultimately for you and me. Please do not take the thoughts and memories that you have today and lock them away until next year at this time. Think about these folks, these sacrifices day in and day out as you live your lives and live them well as a result of their sacrifices. These men and women who we remember did not die in vain. Like the 140 men who died at Bunker Hill in 1775 and the others who also sacrificed their lives for our country, they died for the principles of liberty and freedom on which our country was founded. But they also died for the lives that you and I enjoy today. They died so we may raise families. They died so we can start businesses. And they died for the children and grandchildren of the future, mine and yours. I'm at a point in my life where I can now look back on the men of my father's generation who defended our country in World War II and in Korea. The men of my own generation who fought and died in Vietnam, and the current generations that have been defending liberty and freedom in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. When World War II veterans from District 11 in Washington, D.C. on the honor flight, I get to go down to the memorial and greet them and to try to help share that experience with them. And we'll be there, my team will be there in September when the group from, the bigger group from West Texas gets to make it. It's an honor to be able to welcome them to their memorial. I know that many of them, while they're at the memorial, are remembering the men they fought with who did not come home. They're remembering the men who died in the Pacific Islands or on the beaches of Normandy. And it's important for these men to see their memorial. It's important that they know that their sacrifices are appreciated, but it's also an honor for them to be able to remember the men who did not come home. Suzanne and I are going to get to go to Normandy in a couple of weeks to mark the 70th anniversary of D-Day. On June the 6th, 1944, valiant young Americans did what no one believed possible. They crossed the English Channel and stormed the beaches of Normandy. Many of those men who stormed those beaches that day faced horrible odds of coming home alive, and we will remember them and their sacrifices when we're there. I'm honored today to be in the presence of two Tuskegee Airmen. These men fought for the idea of freedom, even though their freedoms were limited by bigotry and small-mindedness. Similarly, I recently met a Japanese American, a veteran from District 11, who fought for this country that had shipped his family from Fresno, California to Jerome, Arkansas. It takes a real special brand of patriotism to fight for a country that limits your rights or imprisons your parents. They knew and know that America is better than those actions. As a nation, we can apologize to these men who are still with us today and to that Japanese American I met a few weeks ago. But obviously we can never apologize to the Tuskegee Airmen or the Japanese American soldiers who died in battle. To them, we just have to continue to remember each and every one of them. My contemporaries in Vietnam faced their own challenges. They fought a war that many fellow Americans did not, any of their fellow Americans opposed. Unfortunately, in opposing that war, they failed to recognize the sacrifices that were being made on their behalf. It took our nation way too long to honor the men who fought in Vietnam and recognize that they are true American heroes, just like the men who fought at Bunker Hill or who stormed the beaches in Normandy. Earlier this year, I had the honor of attending the dedication of the Texas Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Austin. During Vietnam, I served as an MP at Fort Hood, but many of my same age group were not so lucky. They fought and died in the jungles of Vietnam. Like most of my classmates at Permian High School, it was a pivotal point in my life when I learned that our classmate, Rex Young, died, was killed in combat. Rex is one of the Texas Medal of Honor recipients who's honored in his story and his picture in the atrium out here. A couple of weeks ago, I posted a note on my Facebook page remembering Rex on his birthday. I was pleased to see that 22,000 people looked at that post. Among the 22,000 was a young lady who wrote that she attended Bergen High School and had seen the plaque honoring Rex. But she never knew what he looked like, and she didn't know the details of how he sacrificed his life, saving the lives of his fellow platoon members. Rex's nephew, whom Rex is named for, who is named after Rex, was also among the 22,000 people who looked at that post. Like he, it's very important that the families of the men and women who've lost their lives defending our country know that their loved ones are remembered. This time of year is marked not only by Memorial Day, but also by graduations. There are many young men and women who are graduating from school this month who will also be entering our military service. Some are entering as enlisted men and women. Others are going into military academies, and some are going into officer training schools. Just a couple of days ago, I had the high honor of giving a certificate to a young man who's earned an appointment to the Air Force Academy. This also happened to be, the day we did this was his birthday. I pray to God that he lives to be an old man. And I'm aware, his mom and dad are aware, he's volunteering to put his life on the line for you and me. It's our duty as Americans to never forget the men and women who sacrificed their lives defending our freedoms. Please keep these men and women in your thoughts and keep their families in your prayers. May God continue to bless each one of you. May God bless Texas. And may God bless the wonderful United States of America. Thank you.